with Odell being in here today, what sort of interaction will you have with him? And I know there's still a negotiating situation, but when you potentially can add someone this late in the year, do you always, even before they're in, do you start trying to look at ways that you could use them if it works out?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to, this comes up multiple times throughout the season when you have different roster opportunities, whether you have injuries or guys that you can potentially add. And so there's always those conversations. There's a lot of pieces and components to it, certainly. And so, I may be just one small piece of it. There's a lot of other components to it. And so we'll just kind of take it, as we go. And certainly there'll be an opportunity for all of us to kind of meet and have those different conversations.
Have you had a chance to meet with them yet? And if not, will you do so later this evening?
I have not. Certainly. Yeah, I think a lot of us will have an opportunity as we go through this process.
Can you talk about the clearance of 4-star telegram, the decision to not start Zeke and how that played out for you guys yesterday?
Yeah, at the end of the day, both those guys are going to play plenty. We just made the decision to go with TP, and sometimes little things pop up. Not concerned about it at all, and both those guys are going to be in there. And as the season progresses, like we've said all year, we got two starting running backs. We feel really good about them. So it was TP went in there, and then Zeke came in and he handled it really, really well.
Yeah. How does Zeke handle the quote discipline, and what does that say about him?
Zeke's a rock star. He's handled this season phenomenal, and both those guys complement each other really, really well. And for him to have the history that he's had and the success that he's had to recognize the value that Tony's provided us has been huge. And so those guys complement each other really well, work off each other, feed off each other, and they're on the field at times together, and they support each other. And so we're very, very fortunate to have those guys.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. How challenging would it be if OBJ joined you to incorporate him into your play calling, considering how dynamic he has been? And how much does it change the whole dynamic, and what kind of stress does that put on you as a play caller?
It'd just be part of the process, just like any player that we have that we're trying to get find a defined role for. Obviously, anyone who's coming in that hasn't been a part of it, you just got to find where they're most comfortable and how you can build a role for those particular players. And sometimes guys come up from practice squad that you're trying to find roles, other different situations. So Odell would have something like that, and so those things. And then once you kind of get it going, then it just kind of builds on itself. So these things happen throughout the season, and this would be obviously another opportunity like that, which would be great.
Michael Gelpin, Dallas Morning News. Talk about having two number one running backs. With what Malik is doing with his opportunities, how is that registering from your guys' trust standpoint?
Yeah, no concerns if Malik goes in the game. We feel great about obviously what Tony and Zeke provide, and Malik's right there, and he does a tremendous job on special teams, which gives him a really defined role for us. And if he ever has to go in that game, we really don't sweat it. He hops in there, and we're fortunate. We got those guys. We got Rico, who's been on IR. We got Q on practice squad. We got a really good group there that's done a tremendous job, and we feel very confident that all those guys can take care of their own.
Kellen, Todd Archer with ESPN. Has CeeDee had any do you remember any kind of aha moment with him this year as he's kind of taken off here in the last month or so?
It's just been an awesome, steady climb. I think he's made some big plays, and I think he's just become so steady and consistent, the back part of this season as we've continued to build this thing. And so, I think he's done a tremendous job, and he's just making plays. And obviously, he's a guy you want to get the ball in his hands. He's ran the ball in a couple fly sweeps that go in the rushing category, but those are big plays for us. And he's had a few of those the last few weeks, and then he's got obviously some tremendous catch and run opportunities. Certainly in this game, he had 3 of them where he took a somewhat maybe shallow pass, a little bit completion play, and he took it and made a big play out of it. So we're really, really excited about him. He's done awesome.
Mike.
The offensive line, different combinations that you guys have been able to work. What does that do for you in the long term to give Jason the reps that you gave him, Tyler the reps you gave him, Connor the reps that you gave him?
Yeah, it's huge. We got a number of guys that we feel really confident and comfortable with to be out there on the field, and certainly as we go through the process with Tyron, I think giving those guys different roles and opportunities will help us in the long run. And so Jason's done a tremendous had tremendous success in this league, and he's a guy that we're going to need at various times. And so to keep getting him involved here, and Tyler Smith and his role, and McGovern, and obviously that left side will just kind of keep working through it.
Good.
How many games would you like to maybe fill with that once Tyron is back versus when do you want to kind of lock it in and have it be settled, or do you want to lock it in and have it be settled at a certain point?
Stability is always good, but obviously, as Tyron goes through this process, we'll just have to see how it kind of transpires. And so, I think the beauty of this is those guys have all kind of been able to play at various times throughout this year. So I think they, all the different variables and variations that those guys can play under, all those guys have been together. And so I think we're fortunate that however it plays out, we'll be sitting pretty.
We've asked you a lot this year about Michael coming back from the ACL injury. This past week he had the illness. Just how he played yesterday, based on the fact he didn't do much during the week and the sickness he had.
Yeah, did a tremendous job. Michael's he's a really steady player, and we're fortunate to have a guy like him who's just there. He's consistent, and certainly this game, kind of the red zone became his window, and he took advantage of some opportunities, made some really big plays, and we're fortunate to have him.
Dave Loffenberg, Cowboys Radio. Kellen, with the adjustment you made at running back, how much did that alter your script that you had going into the game?
Really nothing. Yeah, we feel good with both running backs playing in a lot of different ways, and so we kind of went into it with a vision of the early calls already, and so we were good.
All right.
Oh, I'm sure the Athletic. What kind of recruiter are you? Have you worked on like a pitch at all on what you're going to just show him these certain plays, or how do you think you'll do in that?
I don't know. No, it'll be good to go through the process, and Odell's obviously had a ton of success in this league, and from my vantage point, when you get a chance to watch the film, that's the side that I can be a part of. It's he's had a ton of success, and you respect the heck out of what he's done in 3 different spots now, and so it'll be fun to go through it.
Michael.
When Tyron gets back, Mac becomes a kind of a three-way player in your interior offensive line, specifically at center. Or I guess more broadly, how do you feel you can handle all 3? But center, how does he phasing his way into being someone you're comfortable with?
Yeah, certainly he can go in at center, and this game provided us a good opportunity to get him some. Even though it was I think 3 snaps, get him some snaps in at center, because obviously he is the way our roster is structured right now, he would be the backup center. And so anytime you get guys opportunities like that, I think it's huge. And we're fortunate. Mac's done an awesome job, and he can go play the right side as well. And so he definitely is a really versatile piece for us.